Hello, fabulous superstar Leo. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of February 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is it a very special time. And it truly is so special now. Powerful energies are with us, and it really is a jam-packed week. There is so much going on here. And we're going to take it one at a time, starting with the 4th of the month when Jupiter goes direct. It has been since early October that Jupiter has been retrograde, moving through a friendship part of your sky, having to do with group endeavors and more personal alliances as well. Everything from acquaintances to memberships you belong to are covered here as well. Well, with Jupiter going forward, it becomes that much easier to feel as if there is benefit to you to be part of these particular groups or to have the alliances that you do. It starts to feel as if certain friendships may heal or take on greater priority. Or it might be that as a result of what happens with a friend or through a friend, you feel as if you are more connected to the opportunities or awareness around your blessings that much more. With Jupiter moving through this part of the sky for about a year, it was last year in May that Jupiter moved here and will be here into June of this year. Well, this is where the best stuff that shows up in your life very likely is in some way going to be connected to who you know and not always about what you know. And so those friendship connections, keep them strong, because now there's also this burst of healing that comes into your life as a result of those very alliances. The 7th of the month has a rare celestial connection taking place. This happens about once every 17 years or so, and it is when the North Node meets Neptune in the sky. That's what we're going to have now. And this meeting is happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with truth, change, transformation, and wealth. Practical wealth, but also a more personal or spiritual understanding of what wealth is to you. Activations here are powerful. That's what happens when a big planet meets one of the nodes in the sky. These are karmic doorways. When the South Node is activated, it's fortunate closures in at least one area of life. But when it's the North Node, it's the new and the next that we are welcoming in. So whether that's a more inspired understanding of what meaningful change looks like for you, or just a burst of healing that allows you to appreciate how far you've come and connects you to some sense of being authentically you that much more. These are some possibilities here. If it is that you make money or access money through endeavors that you consider healing or artistic, these are the areas that Neptune represents, well, it's likely going to feel like there's opportunity that shows up in your life now that comes with perhaps a one-time kind of big paycheck attached to it. If you have dealings with financial institutions, like you have a loan or benefits you qualify for, this is where there could very well be some positive developments that take place for you. So whether it is being able to attract funding, whether it is that you pay off a certain loan and you feel really grateful for it, you feel cleansed for it, these are some possible scenarios that might find you at this time. Whatever happens, it's like its time has come. It represents a key moment as part of the promises that we make to ourselves before we incarnate, as part of these signposts, right? These big moments that we have in a life when we feel like we shifted directions. That's more likely to happen when the nodes are activated. And this is a rare and powerful activation. We only get a handful of these over the course of a lifetime, and it's usually in different parts of our sky. So here you are, set to redefine wealth in more spiritual terms. On the 12th of the month, we have what might just end up being one of the more important moments for you, not just in the span of this month. Where it comes to this month, absolutely, but even over the span of this year that's just getting started. And that is a full moon in your sign. Normally you get one full moon per sign per year, and this is your moment. Having this full moon is notable because, on the one hand, just in and of itself, it brings a lot of emotion to the surface. It helps you to identify some truth, very likely rooted in emotion, that you haven't wanted to look at perhaps in a while. It's like you finally admit it to yourself, and it's a game changer, and it can orient towards whatever it is that feels especially close, what matters to you most and first. However, it's also about the fact that this full moon is speaking with Uranus in a larger configuration of tension called a T-square. And that means there's an especially frustrating factor here, but also a surprise factor. It's like the truth is revealed, it is bare, it is obvious, and it is a game changer. But what we also have is this full moon speaking in supreme harmony with Chiron, which means that ultimately that truth is profoundly healing. It is a necessary truth to help you to understand whom it is that you are and where maybe you might have betrayed that in some way. So again, this could correlate to any given person, place, thing, or situation. It really comes down to what's near to you, what you prioritize, but also why you prioritize what you do. Certain priorities, of course, deserve to be front and center. Others, perhaps you found yourself with those priorities, but really why and what's really going on. This is going to be an important moment as part of that very clarity that you're likely to find. And like I said, it changes a whole lot for you. Trust the tension. There's going to be that buildup. It may feel frustrating, but once that truth is there, it feels positively cleansing. You are grateful on the other side. On the 23rd of the month, Mars goes direct. Yeah, it's a jam-packed, important month. Mars goes direct in the sign just before yours. And to me, this furthers this sense of a shift of energy set to take place for you. As I've been talking to you about this Mars retrograde season since it began way back in October. And of course, over in the Superstar space on my website with their own special horoscopes. But as we go along, month to month, know that it is this turn that suggests something about yourself. What's happening on levels of soul, psyche, spirit becomes that much more illuminated. It becomes that much more clear, and it becomes about tapping into a deep reserve of power within you. This is about fortunate karmic closures. They might come up suddenly. They might have a lot of passion to them, but ultimately they help to create space for the new and the next to find you. The new and the next, well, that really kicks into high gear once it is that we step into April. That is when Mars will re-enter your sign. Big celestial connections with Mars, and in particular Mars and Pluto, the third and final connection. That's still upcoming, representing one of the more important moments of the year for you that is set to take place. But it is now, it is this month that sets the stage as part of this larger trajectory of your life. As Mars is standing still, Mars is speaking in supreme harmony with Saturn. And that connection is remarkable. That suggests the things you come to realize within yourself now. Well, the benefits, they have the potential to last a really long time to come. That inner steadiness, that inner knowing of what is a fortunate karmic closure will feel very much on the surface. The 27th of the month brings this month's new moon, and this new moon is in the same part of the sky that earlier in the month we had that meeting of the North Node and Neptune taking place. So now here we are. New moons bring with them new beginnings. This new moon is speaking in a conversation of tension with Jupiter. That's a little tricky. I do want to be straightforward with you. Friends and money do not mix at this time. A friend, in all sincerity, might have a very big vision or a promise that maybe can't really be kept. So it's important to pace yourself at this time and, of course, do what feels right for you to do in light of your unique circumstances. But for all that, this can also be where it is as a result of those friendships or alliances you have in your life that it feels as if something fundamental shifts within you. It changes for you now. It may be that a friendship comes or goes at this time. There's a reconnection, or there could be an exit, but regardless, the impact is the same. You get in touch with a deeper truth about you as to whom it is that you are now and what it is that must be different in your life to reflect this different understanding of self. A focus on financial matters, in particular financial institutions, grants, loans, credit cards, bursaries, benefits you qualify for might come into focus. Now, here's the thing. This new moon is speaking in supreme harmony with Mars. And what that suggests is some of the best stuff that's going to happen is just going to show up. It's not so much about you going out and making it happen and asking in certain places, but rather having it come together for you. Whether it is a new beginning as a result of what's paid off or a new source of resources that shows up for you, it represents positive change in your life now. Where it comes to matters of love, on the 28th of last month, Venus went into shadow. And it is going to be on the 4th of this month that Venus moves out of that profound and transformative part of the sky, so lit up in these different moments I've mentioned in this video so far, will move out of this part of the sky and move into fellow fire sign Aries. And this is where, as you move later and later into the month, Venus slows down to stand still before the month is out, going retro next month. So I'll be here to talk about it when we get there, every step of the way. And of course, there will be a Venus retrograde special horoscope, so be on the lookout for that. But for all that, it is this very powerful transit that says, pay attention. As you're starting this month, whatever it is that's arising for you, you just might come to see this time frame differently in some way. Once we get into next month, Venus goes retro. It is going to be, once we navigate into April, that Venus goes direct. And then Venus is going to move over the same path for a third and final time. It will be in April, as Venus shifts gears to change directions, that she will return to where she is as we start this month. Whatever happens at the start of this month might in some way be seen very differently just 2 months later as we move into the month of April. Now, having said that, Venus in that transformative part of the sky also has to do with vulnerability, intimacy, and allowing healthy evolution to happen in relationships, making healthier choices, being aware of the choices you've made and why. But it is Venus that will spend most of this retrograde season in fellow fire sign Aries. And here, Venus is about adventure. It's about being philosophical around love, being more open to love than perhaps you have been before, and being aware of opportunities all around you to experience greater love than you've known before, whether that's with someone or in the context of a new connection that could transpire now. As soon as Venus steps into this part of the sky, very quickly moves to align in harmony with Pluto. This is a key characteristic, a saving grace of an energy with this Venus retrograde season. And it is this connection that brings with it that much more intensity and power and focus at this time. For those of you open to meeting someone new, the first days of the month could have someone entering, and it feels very much like a fated connection. There's this pull there. But as we move a little further in the month, there's going to be a desire to really enjoy yourself, to have fun as you are open to the world, and that includes in love as well. But here's the thing, that full moon in the middle of the month, that is a big moment of self, of you, of getting honest. And that might have to do with new connections you're making at this time. Getting real with yourself as to what your heart is really wanting. That includes in the context of love, will help you to identify all the places and spaces where some of those needs might be being met. For those of you just starting to date someone, I do think a lot of the energy right now speaks to truth. However, With Venus retrograde season now underway, breakups that happen tend to not stay broken up. That doesn't mean that you should be in a situation you don't want to be in. Absolutely. Do what's right for you in light of your unique circumstances. But having said that, the first days of the month, there's a lot of intensity, there's a lot of honesty, and it feels as if there's a desire on your part for something that feels really authentic and a strong connection to another. If you have that with this person, there's likely going to be an increase of intimacy in the first days of this month. But if you don't, I think it's going to start to raise questions as to whether or not it's even worth navigating forward with. Now, your answers are going to feel more clear as to what you really want to do in the context of this new person once we get to that full moon in the middle of the month. It's a real moment of self-honesty that helps you to understand where your heart really is. And for those of you in an established bond, the overwhelming majority are going to find that as we begin the month, there might be a focus taking place on your partner's finances in some way. That's a possibility. But outside of that, it is a time to feel closer to your partner, to feel more known by your partner in a beautiful way. As we have Venus changing signs, the two of you planning some adventure together that bonds you that much more becomes a stronger characteristic. For that small percent out there, if you felt for a while you might not be in the right relationship for you, it is the first days of the month that help you to get honest. The full moon gets you honest as well in the middle of the month. But at least once Venus changes signs, that is when you are taking a more philosophical approach to love as part of figuring out what you want to do next. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say I love the energy of, well, that full moon in your sign. I think that's going to be a big focus for you. Yes, we do have Mars going direct, but Mars is still not yet in your sign. I think that move of Mars into your sign in April is likely going to be an even bigger moment, at least as far as the Mars retrograde season is concerned. However, that full moon in your sign, every Leo out there, I think is going to feel this energy. Lots of emotion comes to the surface very quickly, but there is truth there. And that truth ends up being a game changer. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate over at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. I also want to add that I do have a very limited number of consultations available. You can learn a lot more about getting a consultation with me or with Andy of Wise Ass Astrology. Yes, you can book a consultation with him as well over on my website. Just check out the consultation tab and links are below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.